So she said this to me, Rachel, I feel like the barrier that is holding me back from being fully myself and feeling good about my life and happy about my life and like I can be myself finally. She said the barrier is that I feel fundamentally flawed. Then she went on to say, I cannot recognize that I have much meaning and that I mean something to people beyond the superficial things that I do. If you've ever felt this way, or if you've been longing or saying to yourself, hey, listen, part of me is missing and I want to find that part of me, then this episode of The Road to Radical Visibility is for you. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode. My name is Rachel Freemon Sowers, also known as the Breakthrough Bitch, because I am powerful about helping LGBTQ plus neurodiverse and female communities really become more bold in the expression of themselves, their mission, and their truth in business and in life. And today's episode is all about returning back to wholeness, creating that way of being in each one of us and inside of you, so that you can be the best you want to be in life, so that you can have the life that you want to have, that you can be confident and really understanding that as in each interaction, you are presenting and being that person that you want to be. You see, there's so many times when we are held back in the world today, and we're held back not because we want to be, but because we have had cultural constructs, societal expectations, familial systems, and also been taught as part of this to really deny, cut off, or say stop of these parts of ourselves that have really helped us become the people that we want to be. And if you're struggling right now, or you've said to yourself recently, hey, listen, something is missing. I don't feel like I used to feel. I'm not as confident as it used to be. I feel like I'm holding back, like I'm shrinking back into myself, trying to protect myself. Then I'd like for you to stick around until the end of this episode. This topic came up because I was meeting with a client just this last week. And this is something that is a similarity for quite a few of the people that I work for and they work with. They actually come to me and they say, Rachel, I just feel like something is missing. I feel like I can't even really always recognize myself, that I've been caught up in the doing, and the achievement. If you've also been feeling this and you kind of maybe you've just focused in on work and the rest of life has gone to the wayside, or you focus on one part of life and then the rest of life goes to the wayside, you can find a way to be in your whole life. But the thing of it is that if you want to be in your whole life, you need to recognize how to be your whole self. You see, none of this is fixed with an external stimulant. None of this is fixed for a new course, or it's not fixed by buying a different funnel or buying a book. It is really done through the exercise that helps you become your whole self again. It requires all of us to look at these parts within ourselves. And remember, if you've heard me say this often on this podcast, we have all these different parts of ourselves. And what happens is that these different parts of us are formed throughout our whole entire lives. And again, we're not talking about multiple personality disorder or anything like that. What we're talking about is these parts of us that have kept us safe. So one of the parts that I have had and have healed is the fake self-esteem girl. So a lot of times in my life, I've had to put on a face. I've had to fake it till I made it. And honestly, that's a reason why I don't like that phrase. The other thing is that I don't need to fake it, because I can create the feelings, the way of being within my body, and then I can externally be that way. And what I used to do is I used to present myself as something that I wasn't. I used to present myself as something that would help other people like me. I used to present myself in ways that would help other people feel better about them and what they were doing instead of what I needed in my life. And when I stopped and started communing with this fake self-esteem girl part of me and said, hey, listen, I see you, I hear you, and tapped into her. And I started asking her, like, what does she need from me? How is she feeling? What is she saying when this part of me feels insecure, or this part of me feels I have to be somebody that I'm not? And through that process, what was really able to happen was I was able to hear that she was so effing tired. She was so tired of not being herself, always putting on whatever costume, whatever outfit, whatever mask, whatever thing was needed by everyone else. And she said to me in a meditation, she's like, can you just help me stop? And then I asked her, what does she need from me in order to have her stop? And the answer was, she needed me to become that leader. She needed me to say, we don't have to fake anything. We don't have to be something we're not to feel love, to feel acceptance, to feel any of that. When we are ourselves, we're able to feel love and acceptance. And it's not a grandiose kind of ego, like, I'm doing this, I don't care. It's like, hey, listen, this is how I interact in the world. Come along with me if you want. And if not, that's okay too. When I started practicing and acknowledging and identifying these parts of myself in the way that they have kept me safe up until this point, it was the tipping point in which has allowed me to become whole again. Feeling fundamentally flawed was not the way you came out of the womb. Feeling fundamentally flawed comes from the experiences, the traumas, the actions, the interactions that you have experienced throughout your life. Believing that we are complete, whole, and perfect just as we are can be a really difficult concept because we don't picture ourselves as whole. We see it's like, well, this is what's wrong with me, or I'm still 25 pounds overweight, or my hair is gray and I'm getting old, or I didn't make this video right. Like, we are trained to teach ourselves how to shame ourselves and how not to feel whole and complete, and honestly, in that regard, good enough for really anything. So the world has taught us through our achievements, through our accomplishments, this means that I am worthy of something. I have 50,000 followers on TikTok, therefore that means that I am worthy to call myself an entrepreneur or an influencer. I just think of any other standard, right, that you are trying to meet to make sure that you are then reach a status or reach a point in which you are now worthy of something else. And I'm here to tell you that you're worthy of everything right now, whether you do another thing or whether you don't. The question I often ask my clients is this: if we took everything, it took you out of this whole accomplishment, took you out of the jobs, took you out of the things that you're doing that make you say, I am worthy, I am enough, and we stuck you in the middle of the forest, stick with me here, and you were just there, could you feel as worthy all by yourself in the middle of the forest as you can with this other thing, as you can in your job? Because what I'm telling you right now is those other things don't create the value that you have. The internal way of being whole creates the value you have. the recognition that we are in a system that encourages and really drives us and teaches us from a young age that do this thing, act this way, be this way, don't do this. Oh, be yourself, but don't be that way. It's fucking confusing. And so we end up in our heads just like on this rat race, and we forget that there's a life here for us to be living and that we add value into the world by just being who we are in our wholeness. So how do we return back to wholeness? How do we take those steps to say, I am no longer wanting to feel fractured. I no longer want to stay in a space in which I am broken, or everyone tells me that I am broken. The first thing we need to do to return back to your wholeness is to learn how to love all the parts of you. The part of you that says, oh, I don't know if we should do this because we don't know enough. I don't, like, for visibility, I don't know if I should do a video because maybe I need to do this one more thing, or I don't have the right haircut, or I don't look good on camera, or I don't like the way my eyes look, like all of these things that come in, and a part of us is saying, no, it's not safe for us. When we create different relationships with these parts of ourselves and say, when does this part chime in? When do they speak up? What are they feeling when they feel that? What are they feeling when they start speaking up? What are they telling me? And then what do I need to do? And how do I need to commune with these parts of myself differently? We've been taught to shove it away, and including our intuition. Oh, see, you have to trust, and all of these things mean that this is the choice that you should make. And we forget that we have this beautiful human body with an intuitive way of being that we can use. So getting to love all the parts of ourselves instead of saying, well, okay, I don't want to, can you just shut up right now? One of my clients is like, I just tell this part of me, just shut up. Can you just shut up? But more often than not, it is much better to say, I see you and I hear you. I know that part of me feels scared right now. And I want that part of me to know that I know that we are safe. And I'm going to go ahead and take on this leadership role within myself. I call it the queen role within my own self. And I'm going to love this part of myself and heal this part of myself. The second thing you can do to return back to wholeness is to create the feelings that you want to have. So if you have felt abundance before, you can feel it again. If you have felt confidence before, you can feel it again. If you have felt wholeness, maybe there's a moment in your life when you have really felt like, holy crap, everything is flowing, it's falling into place. And you were just in this kind of flow state. You can have that again. But it's really, this is about helping the body know that it is safe to feel these ways. That fear or our safety is not compromised when we feel like we are enough. When we say to ourselves, I am truly being the person I am being, and I am safe to be that. The other day I had a client, and she was talking about struggling with part of her sexuality. And so what I told her to do, I said, go outside. And as you're walking down the street, you don't have to yell it, but it is safe for me to be this. And just be outside. Just be outside saying it is safe for me to be this. This really allows you, and you don't have to be around people. I said, just walk down the street and say it to the tree. It is safe for me to be this. It is safe for me to be this. It is safe for me to be this. And what you're doing is you're conditioning your body to know it's safe to express yourself in that way, right? The third thing is that really unattaching your worthiness, identity, or your value from what you do to who you are being. I had a woman say, Rachel, it just is really selfish. Isn't it that selfishness? And all I have to say to that is that this is your life. And when you are fully in your life and the way of being in your life, it shifts what comes out from the internal. It shifts the way that you show up and how you experience your life. So if there's something going on within you, or there's something in your life that's going on and you're like, I'm not really liking this, unattaching your identity or your value from what that thing is. So for example, it's kind of like, I don't want to go to this place, or someone asks you to go out for drinks or whatever. And you're like, no, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stay home. Well, why can't you go? We want you to go, and it's kind of like, I'm not going to attach the value that my life has to this activity. I also want to caution you that in the workplace and how we present ourselves in all of the kind of industrial way of being that we are, that your value is not derived from your job. Because your job could go away tomorrow and you'll be left there. And what needs to happen is that we need to know that we are valuable without it. When we fully return back to our wholeness, the job is the thing that helps us be a certain way in the world. But if that job didn't exist, we would still be that way in the world in other ways. And then we're not left with like, I've lost all of this stuff and now I've lost myself and I don't know who I am. A lot of people say that, like, I don't know who I am anymore. They'll come to me and say, I don't recognize my life. How did it become this way? And it doesn't mean that it's majorly bad, but they feel like they've lost themselves. Returning to your wholeness allows you to always know yourself. You always know where you are. You have an intention and a way of being in the world. This means that if you were to be put in the middle of a forest, you would feel just as valuable there as you would doing all of these other things. So this is the internal work that needs to happen. It is these noticing the things that cause us to feel like we're fundamentally flawed that really are not the truth at all. The things that we have experienced and the ways of being or the parts of ourselves that have really kept us safe until this moment and creating different relationships with those parts of ourselves. So I just want to ask you right now, as we've kind of talked about this whole topic and returning back to your wholeness, I wonder what it would feel like for you to feel whole. And if you're saying, Rachel, well, hell, I don't know. I don't even know that. It's time to rediscover. This is your life. Like, it's your life, friend. No one else lives your life but you. And it is my belief that I'm not put here on this earth to live my life for other people. I may get some backlash for that. But my life isn't here to live for other people. My life is to live for me, for the purpose that I am meant here, and therefore helping other people. It is truly a passion and a gift to watch my clients time after time after time claim their truth, live their life, and see how it drastically, positively explodes in their life for everyone else too. It's not selfish. It's intentional. It's intentional without shame and without guilt and without fear and without scarcity. Returning to your wholeness is the thing that will create more happiness, more fulfillment, a sense of purpose, an increase in your knowing of your own value, independent of what you do and what other people think about you or their opinions about you. Friend, it is time for you to return back to your wholeness. Learn to love all the parts of you, even the quote unquote bad parts. These parts have kept you safe. Create the feelings that you want to be having right now. Don't wait for something else to happen. Don't wait for someone to say something. Don't wait till this thing. Don't wait till that thing. Stop waiting. You can have it all now. And unattach your worthiness and your identity or your value from what you do. And start creating the value for yourself of how you are being from the inside out. It's time for all of you to return to your wholeness, because we have got some shit to do here on this earth. And that is the way that you can do it the best. It's to be whole again. So that's this episode of Road to Radical Visibility. I want to encourage all of you to check out my YouTube channel, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to know that I'm on TikTok and doing videos over there. I want to encourage you to respond in the comments. And even if you're listening to the podcast, feel free to shoot me a message at rachelfreemansowers@gmail.com or go on to any social media platform. I'd love to hear how you've enjoyed this podcast episode or this show. And I will end this video like I end every single video. Please make sure to stay true to yourself, be kind to others, and always, always, always honor the wise one that is within you. I'll see you all next time on the road to radical visibility. See you then.